Good morning, everyone. We are starting off this lovely Monday with this to tackle first thing in the morning. It's been a very hectic weekend, Super Bowl weekend. We threw a party and then I had a party with my girlfriends this weekend. So it's just been very hectic. Have not had very much time to actually work or put any effort into my work area. So that's first on the list, and let's just get into it. The desk is clean, but now all of that stuff is now on my bed or behind me. So I have to clean that eventually now too. I've been in a funk for about 3 months now. More than likely it's work related, but I don't know, could also be the weather. It's wintertime here in Pittsburgh. Something about right now, Christmas time. Sometimes it's very motivating for me some years, and then some years it just gives me the blues. I think it's a collection of different little things. Number one, Christmas is such a demanding time of year. This year, I was really intentional about trying to be very present in Christmas time and the holidays. Just doing everything that I would want to do. But that ended up being kind of detrimental to my work. Several clients I kind of dropped the ball on a little bit. It kind of set the scene for the beginning of January, all through January for me, of that all of January was just going to be very internal, putting my head down, not talking to anybody, just working. However, that's also not great for my mental health either. So now that I'm in February, it's been like, okay, let's mix the two together. Let's have time to spend with people, talk to people, socialize. Let's also get really good at getting our work done. As if there is some perfect equation of balance that one can do to do that and make that happen. So even though February is going okay for me, I still feel very much still in this funk. And I have no idea how to get out of it. Part of me has talked to other people about this, and little things have come up, like changing my scenery, changing my desk setup, changing up my routine every day. And yes, in theory, those all sound great, but those also take time and money and just motivation to do all of those things too. And I'm just like, I don't know. Do I want to actually improve my life and fix my routine and improve my situation right now? Or do I just want to wallow in my sadness? However, I'm sure that nobody came to this video because they wanted to see me just cry about my life. So here's what I'll say. Particularly in my freelance situation, let me know if you guys are similar to this. And maybe that's why you are considering freelance, doing freelance now. I get bored really easily. I didn't think that that would be my world way back in the day. I thought I would just get a job being a video editor, and that would just be my whole life, and that would be what I do every day. Through the course of my career, I have been job jumping. I have a lot of not super long-term jobs. And I think either that or it just worked out that way, that this is what I like. I actually don't think I like to do a long-term job for a very long time. Around 2 years is about the time where I'm like, okay, this is a long time doing the same thing over and over again. Which makes me think that I need a change to my routine to revamp my excitedness for what I do every day. Or add on something else, put my effort into something else. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but my channel really took a dive last year. I was just barely posting anything because I was really prioritizing my client work over my YouTube channel. And I think that that may have had an adverse effect on me, because why I made this channel was so that I had my own creative outlet to make my own videos. And it was something that I had complete control over. And when I don't work on those videos, I find myself just feeling like a true employee, just like coming in every morning, doing these tasks. They take me all day. I'm mentally exhausted, but I'm not creatively challenged or anything because it's just the same things over and over again. So that's really why, one of the reasons why I've been focusing more on at least posting consistently, as well as the thought of, okay, what do you have going for you other than your client work? And for me, that is my YouTube channel. And then I have some courses that I'd like to keep making more of. And those things do, one, motivate me, and two, act as a form of, maybe in the future, a sustainable passive income source. Right now it's a source, but it's not something that I could ever rely on. So I think my goal this year is to, because I've gone back and forth on this, I've thought, do I want to follow the money and pick up more clients and become more of an agency? Or do I want to focus more on my channel and my other passive income sources and just be more of a content creator? And between those two, I find myself gravitating more towards the content creation side than the client side. And that's come full force at me when clients come to me asking for work to be done for them. And I find myself just not being available or interested in the work. And maybe that means I need to just wait for the right client to come around that like really motivates me. And maybe that just hasn't happened yet. And maybe that just speaks to a different level I feel like I'm starting to get to, where I have done the work, I've done the freelance thing, I've done the hustling. And now that I'm at this point where I'm like, okay, I'm considering myself relatively successful at this, I guess, to the point where now I don't feel like I need to accept every client that comes to me. I need to consider what kind of long-term relationships I'm interested in having and be really, really picky about them. So in that way, I really should feel more excited and grateful and inspired by that fact. But yet I'm finding myself feeling very overwhelmed and empty. And I think maybe I am just still in the thick of this transition mindset wise to get to that point. I don't know if any of that even made sense. That's just what I'm feeling right now. I don't vlog very often, so it's kind of hard for me to like articulate these feelings. And I've talked to other people in my life and it's about the same thing where I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Just feeling very meh. A big reason why I'm probably feeling like this is because I recently went to Vegas for a client work trip, which I never do. I do not travel. I do not aim to one day travel. And it was a very overwhelming experience for me and something that I'm just very not used to. I think the lead up to that trip and the trip itself has left me feeling very totally wiped out, which is okay. I deserve to feel that way. It was a very hard trip. And maybe I am just still recovering from that trip. And I just need to just accept that and take more time to do things that make me happy and that get me back into a good, healthy routine. That's probably a big part of it too. And I tend to keep forgetting that. Like I'm almost just like wiping it from my brain in survival mode. So anyways, I really just felt like rambling for a hot second because I feel like this is a part of my freelance journey that I feel like should be talked about more. If you are feeling like you are in a slump or just stuck in sort of a cycle, I'm with you. It's common. I have it all the time. And this one's just a little bit longer than expected. And when you're in a slump, I feel like the worst part of that slump is if you feel like there really is no end in sight. And right now, I don't feel like there's necessarily an end in sight. All I can do is just do little things to change up my routine and do things that make me happy and hopefully eventually get out of that rut. But I don't have that much control over the situation. And I don't really have the time to other than what we're doing right now, my little mini therapy session, I don't really have the time to sit and really like work it out because there's just too much work to be done. Sad fact of life and the freelance game. But I'm gonna try and make it a good day. And honestly, I'm gonna try and just make it a really good week. I think I'm just gonna try and treat myself a little bit more this week and do things that I know make me feel happy. Here's what I'll say about this whole freelance midlife crisis situation, because I've had some time to reflect on it. It's actually been a week since I posted my very first rant on here, and I sympathize with week ago Colleen, because there's just so many factors that go into a successful freelance career. And a lot of that has to do with the clients that you set up for yourself, the business that you set up for yourself, the environment you set up for yourself, the routines you set up for yourself. A lot of it also has to do with uncontrollable factors, just the way that you're feeling in your health, the way that you're feeling in your personal life, just things that come into your life that are completely non-controllable. And when things like that happen that are unable to be controlled, whether it just be your mindset, big holidays, big trips that you have to plan for, in my case, to me, I can sometimes end up feeling kind of like a slave to my work because those things happen and I don't do anything about it in terms of changing my work schedule, telling my clients that I'm unavailable certain days. I don't do any of that. I work with the intention of always being able to do the work and always being able to get the work done no matter the circumstances. But that's not really that realistic because things are always coming up in my life. And so it's really just, I think I'm at a point right now in my freelance career that I've worked really hard to get to where I'm at right now with the clients that I have and like how, things are really steady. However, I've kind of put a lot of things on hold, and I've talked about this for a long time now, where I want my freelance life to not be the thing that controls my life. I want my life to come first and my freelance business to support that. But I just can't seem to make the steps to make that happen because there are things that need to be done, as in setting boundaries with clients, raising my rate to account for other things like outsourcing and things like that. And I feel that it's a struggle to make those things happen because you kind of have to I kind of have to level up myself and kind of grow into a different level of where I want my freelance business to be to make that happen. And so when that doesn't happen, when I let that slip for too long, when I just fall into the grind of week after week after week doing the work, but I'm not having that boss mentality, it kind of leads me down this road of getting into a depression and my anxiety really taking over and just really feeling like a complete worker bee, if you will, to which there's nothing necessarily wrong with a worker bee. But for me, I have no way of growing my business unless I am the one growing it. And if I'm spending all my time in the grind, working, doing the actual work, and not spending any time on actually growing the business and evolving the business, then I get stuck. And then I get really anxious and really down on myself and just basically how I've been the past couple of months, which is just in a complete rut and just feeling really depressed. I also, and I brought this up to a couple people, that it's interesting that I have always been a job jumper from when I started my career, mainly because I worked on a lot of shows and they didn't even last any longer than a year anyways, because that's just the way shows work. So but that worked out great for me because I like to just try different things, and I don't like to get stuck in a position for too long. And so, which is why I went the freelance route, because hey, I can just do whatever I want and do whatever jobs come to me. But Colleen, what you did was you went the freelance route, but in the safety of finding very long-term clients, which is great for stability, but not great for feeling like a true freelancer. I feel sometimes like an employee because I just have every week it's the same work coming in, which again is great. It's great to have consistent work and I can account for it and I know how much I'm probably going to make every month. It's perfect. But sometimes I still just feel like an employee. And that brings me down as well because I think that I need a different route than that because I just can't stay in one job doing the same thing for a really long time. I just get bored and I have to do something else. And I think maybe I'm starting to itch to do that. And so maybe I just need to focus on my channel more. Maybe I need to create a new course. Maybe I need to focus on other creative outlets that I can control, that I can put my efforts into to kind of change up that scenery for me. Either way, let's wrap this all up. Sometimes freelance sucks and sometimes you feel like an employee and sometimes you don't have control over your business like you think you do. First of all, for me, I just have to kind of like let that wash over me and just like sit in that for a minute. And then also understand that this feeling of like doom and gloom is probably going to pass, which it really is. I need to think about what I can control, think about taking tiny steps towards something different in my life, and also not take my work too seriously because that's the whole point of what I'm trying to do, where I'm trying to live my life and have my freelance business support that life. In order to do that, I need to not let my freelance business take over my life. And part of that would mean to not take it so seriously, which is easier said than done because my freelance business is like a child to me. So it's difficult for me to just not think about it. And I also just am in the habit of, with any downtime that I have, I just tend to think, what can I be working on? Instead of what hobby can I be pursuing? Or, you know, could I be going to the gym right now? Like other things that could support my life in different ways. So I think it's just a journey that I'm on. And I guess we're all on our own sort of freelance journey. So this is just kind of a not super exciting part of it. It's something that I feel like I should welcome even though it sucks, because I feel like this is a sign and a stepping stone, like a growing pain, if you will, to getting to where I ultimately want to be in my freelance business. This is a part of that. And so while it sucks and it's a crappy place to live for now, ultimately I should embrace what it is teaching me and use that to grow into a more evolved business than what I have now. So it's so nice to look at things in a positive light, but when you're in the thick of it, it's like, still a little bit, it's just kind of, you know, not that enticing to think about conquering, you know, especially when you don't have the energy for it. So for me, I mean, this whole week, I'm just going to be focusing on doing things that make me happy, like working out, going for walks and eating really good food and just doing things that give me energy and then make me feel good. And again, working my business around that. Working around those life priorities. So let me know if that's something that you are also struggling with. I think that that is a common issue with freelance, but I hope you guys are growing your freelance businesses if you have one, or you know, dipping your toe in the freelance world and encountering all these stepping stones, because they are important in ultimately growing yourself, growing your business, growing your craft, whatever that might be. I feel like rants are a little important for me to kind of get that out there, because I've had this stuff on my mind for a while now, and it's exciting to think that I'm like kind of coming out of this kind of dark transition, and I just kind of want to share all parts of that with you guys so that you know what you may be getting into. So thanks again, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.